been such a pleasure to see everyone here. Thank you for coming. And what a wonderful, beautiful music. Thank you for sharing. And of course, Leo, mesmerizing and so resonant. And I'm looking forward to Will Harris reading as well. So I'm going to read from my second collection, AGIMAT, which in Filipino word, it actually means talisman or amulet. My mother's side, they're all nurses, so my mom, my auntie, sisters, I turned out to be a nurse as well. But my father's side, legend has it that they are AGIMAT bearers. My grandfather is actually a shaman, and he heals people through incantations and whispers. But during World War II, when the Philippines was occupied by the Japanese, he was a young one at the time, and legend has it that he carried an AGIMAT. He was actually a part of the guerrilla, and his expertise was hit and run. When I came to the UK, I grew up to be a young woman, and I met a person of Japanese heritage, which I later dated. And I really want to begin my reading with a poem that focuses on that. But the book as a whole, it explores two different wars. The first war is the battlefield where nurses fought during the COVID-19 pandemic. My mother was in the front line at A&E, whereas I was in the front line of children and young people's mental health. The second war, of course, is the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. So I was dating this guy back when I was 19. My father found out that he was Japanese. And he picked me up and said, "How could you date a Japanese man? Don't you know what they did to our country?" I'm like, "Dad, I know, but let's move on." "How could you tell me to move on?" "Dad, it's only half Japanese." So this poem is called "My Father Asks Why I Date a Japanese Man." We are stuck in traffic under Selfridge's bridge. Father grips the steering wheel. Don't you know what the Japanese did to our country? I know, but memory is a swallow nest, fragile and shifting, and love is a salamander skiing down white clouds of window glass. Hindi mo ba alam? Father doesn't move, though the light is green, the cars behind in chorus blaring. He stares beyond the windshield at hectares of rice fields he plowed as a child. His steel clanks against another steel. Half-buried, crusted mortal bomb dropped at a time when every window was blown to embers that children mistook for fireflies. My grand-aunt in Cuenca, the night before she wed, found 2 bombshells in the courtyard. Thinking they were rocks, she set them as a stove, onto which the cooks laid their cauldrons. Minced goat meat, sautéed onions, hiss, an explosion of limbs. Father scaled a tree to fetch an arm dangling from a bow, a ladle still clutched in its hand. The map unfolds in front of Father's face. A lieutenant asked him to translate. Every cavern is small enough to squeeze through. The villagers say, where darkness lies, there are barrels brimming with Yamashita's gold. Father says, where darkness lies, people console themselves with an imagined truth. The lieutenant beckons an army truck, tarps the area for 3 days, even the crickets can't peek through. Father tastes the bitter moss in his mouth, braces through tunnels small as rabbit holes, emerges to the atomic flash of moonlight. Father's uncles were force-fed water through a hose. There is a trellis in our old kitchen, chipped by the blades of kenpitai, where they pinned Uncle Nardo, stabbed his stomach dry. Bodies fill the pamintahan well, men, women, children. A jeweler from Anilao excavates gold thief from the dead. Some days I dream an omen, a mountain ridge at bird's eye view, the keloid scar on my grandfather's nape. When he was young, a Kempetite kicked him to his knees, thrust his head towards the well's mouth. It was almost full, his face half a foot away from a stomach erupting with blood. When the soldier swung, he threw himself into the well, feigning death. Others say he was already dead, but opened his eyes when a scarab crawled into his ear. The gash in his nape, blocked with pebbles and sand, hardened into his body's talisman. My grandfather baptized Tagaliwas, a guerrilla whose expertise was hit and run. Tagaliwas, protection from bullets, but also tagat, hot. Grenades bloomed in his pomelo tree, sharp now like a meteor shower swerved from him. But a bullet hit the heart of the woman he loved. Her chest burst into the scarlet feathers of a macaw. When birds cried outside his hut, he jumped from sleep, tripped in the shadow of his blanket. An invaded heart will swell and suffocate in the body that houses it, until it splits open, a pomelo doomed to rust. The man I date is a Buddhist. Confesses he too was a soldier in his past life. He takes my hand across the metropolis of peri-peri sauce bottles on the table, lets me feel the birthmark in the jungle of his gelled head, his gunshot wound. In this life, it is his talisman. I finger the raised skin, the ridges of enemy lines, before my father yanks my hand away, as if I am about to unearth something long buried, or pull the safety pin of a grenade. Throughout this collection, I also use Mebuyan, who is a mythical persona in Philippine mythology. And Mebuyan is supposed to be this goddess who's supposed to be really pretty. I can't really explain how she looks like, but if you want to have an idea, just kind of look this direction. But, no, I'm joking. But Mebuyan, instead of going to the heaven to become this beautiful goddess, she chose to be the goddess of the underworld. So she rode on her giant rice mortar, spin to the underground, and she chooses to nurse the souls of the dead children in the underworld. I'm just gonna quickly get some water. So, when she did that, what happened was she was kind of cursed, and she grew hundreds of breasts, and she becomes this grotesque goddess instead of a beautiful one, and she nurses those dead children in the underworld. I was thinking when I was writing this book, I really needed someone like Mebuyan to kind of personify my work as a nurse, especially as a therapist for children and young people at the time of COVID. So there are a few Mebuyan poems throughout the collection, and throughout the collection she's meeting different characters. In this poem, she will meet the god of speed, Hermes. If you could remember back during COVID, everybody kind of slowed down, right? We went back to gardening or doing some hobbies. But in the nursing world or the medical world, we sped up at that time. This poem is called Mebuyan, Thesis Hermes. Being busy is an attitude, a habit, and a value. We are all in a hurry. Nursing inquiry. Call that fast, buoy quick. Lie in the night clouds of your mama's quilt. We're already elbow grease. Listen, my sister sings, recoils into a tokay gecko, our ceiling winds with her creaks, like an old-fashioned alarm clock. Malachite skin slips in and out of the touching in the alleyways of work and sleep. You ain't fast. You just hex women like that nymph too tired to attend your party into a lethargic drag. Turtle-shelled, a whole household on her back. Don't you know, my mama's muzzle is made up of 1 million springtails. She zigzags across the bay, from bed to bed, the sheets she blindingly made. How can the body generate such energy? Some call it duty, some call it love. My mama moves faster than a yellow balloon, exploding molecules of moonstone your naked eyes cannot grasp. I slap the back of a choking man with the speed of a mantis shrimp catapulting a mollusk out of its shell. This is how we work her mess. Swifter than a frog's tongue clutch. Here I am sewing up the wound from a year 11's compass cut, whose prom was cancelled, whose father died, waiting for his cancer treatment. No time to cry or sit in the funeral of crows. Carry on, carry on. Larga ng larga. We've inherited leaf hopper thighs, our tendon splinters quick, our skeleton dries. Can't you see? What you're looking at is already pickled in the past. This black thread holding the gash closed has already been tied tight. Her mess, we're already miles ahead, way before you reach this line. Okay. You're a very quiet audience. Now you're gonna help me read a poem. Another Biblian poem that's written in the old Tagalog folk song called Talingdao. So the Talingdao, normally we would gather, old Filipinos would gather over a campfire, and each persona will say something, tell their story, but everybody will sing a refrain. Oh, I need you to do the piano. Actually, no, let's just recite it. Let's not sing it. But I think I don't need you to sing and to recite the refrain for me. So what I'll do, when I raise the glass, can we all say the refrain, which is, why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. Something? Let's practice. Okay. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. I'm going to eyes. When we sing the Talingdao, we sing it with a heart. Imagine you are saying this to someone, a little child, your child, or your, I don't know, nephew, niece, and they're out in the streets and it's so dangerous. So you need them to come home. Let's practice it one more time with heart and passion. Okay? Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. You ready? One more. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. Are you ready? You're all born ready. Nebuyan song. Why is it dark at night? The scientist. There are more stars than grains of sand, but they fall away when the universe expands, so we'll never reach their light. The grandmother. There was once a poet who fell in love with a shinobi. He hurled his kunai, conjuring 100 lightning storms, so she spilled her ink across the scroll of the sky. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. The village drunk. Everyone I love has left. I butter heaven with an empty bottle until it shines in bruises. The village priest. Everyone who's left, I've learned to love. My prayers flutter into blue-black moths petaling around God's mouth. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. Mebuyan. The food vendor on the pavement shoos away a street kid with a rattan rod topped with a red plastic mop she uses to shoo away flies. She churns a broth of oxbow. This is the tastiest in town. When the crickets stroke a chorus, this broth congeals into a moon, so luminous Queen Cosmos shuts her eyes. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. Mebuyan. Meanwhile, the child shooed away by the vendor, accused of stealing by the priest, and punched in the eye by her drunk father, walks out of an alleyway. Her silhouette between buildings, a semicolon. She strolls the village alone, not finding out the truth, which is that the gods and the kings in tales and histories were all afraid of a child. So they concocted a plan. They called up the dark, smudged the world with the grit of their palms. Why are you out on this dark night? Come back home out of wild beast sight. But no one calls the child home. She hears nothing but the slantwise sheen of scars on her arm. The sky sinking darker now, all pulverized glass of stars falling further from her reach. The wind flinches at the blades of leaves. In some versions, the child grows up to tell the story. Okay, so last poem. Thank you so much again for inviting me here, and thank you for such a wonderful introduction. It's been such an honor to read for you and read with you as well. So the book was about amulets and talisman, but actually it's not the material amulets that really stand up in the book. Most of the amulets are language, so I try to explore the magic that lives in words. The only amulet poem that I actually wrote, I guess, is this next poem, Magatama. Magatama, which is, it originated from Japan, and it used to be that you could get some pebbles in Itoigawa coast in Japan and you could just take it with you. But I think that they stopped doing that now. But recently, my husband gifted, when I was nursing during the pandemic, it was really hard because I was taking care of these young people, and my husband and I, we were trying to conceive, and it was quite difficult for Mebuyan in the book to take care of others' children while she couldn't have a baby of her own. So in real life, my husband gave me this Magatama talisman. And yes, it's the same half Japanese man in the earlier poem. So love wins. But thank you so much. Magatama. This pale green jade from you, love, hangs close. Its polished curves with patches of turquoise glisten. Sharp water overcoming the shore. Wind incising tides. May this pendant live on, an heirloom in waiting if luck is on our side. I wake up from a dream to a midnight thunderstorm. The Magatama on my chest, a waxing moon, a coma. Shared breath that fills the space at our dinner table. Beyond the waves where selves are lost, the Itoigawa coast appears. Its shore, a mosaic of blue and green. There, our future child, bright face, plays, laughs as she picks up pebbles, scattered like syllables. Thank you.